Let me ask you a really simple question, one you've probably never stopped to think about. Where exactly is your mind? I don't mean what is it, I mean physically, where is it? Well, today we're going on a journey into an ancient text, the Shurangama Sutra, to try and solve this incredibly personal mystery.
So this whole story kicks off with this pretty shocking admission. It comes from a man named Ananda. Now, you have to understand, Ananda was brilliant. He was the Buddha's cousin, his right-hand man, and he had a photographic memory. He'd memorized every single teaching the Buddha ever gave. But one day, all that knowledge proved to be useless when he was totally trapped by a powerful illusion.
And that really brings us to the heart of the matter. If knowing literally everything there was to know couldn't protect him from illusion, what was the missing piece? His personal crisis becomes our investigation.
All right, so here's our game plan for unpacking this. We're going to start with Ananda's failure, then we'll join him on this incredible search for the mind. After that, we'll zero in on the unchanging witness, explore a mind-blowing metaphor about the ocean in a bubble, and wrap it all up with a timeless piece of advice.
Okay, so let's set the scene for what started all this. Ananda, the genius scholar, is out by himself when he gets ensnared by this powerful magical charm. He comes dangerously close to breaking his most sacred vows. The Buddha actually has to step in and use his own power to snap him out of it. And you can imagine, this experience leaves Ananda completely rattled. He realizes that just knowing things isn't the same as truly understanding them.
So, totally humbled, Ananda goes to the Buddha and basically just lays it all out. He says, look, all my book smarts, all my learning, it was completely useless. It gave me zero strength when I actually needed it. Please just show me the real way. And this desperate plea is what kicks off one of the most famous and frankly most profound dialogues in all of philosophy.
Now, instead of just giving him a simple answer or some comforting words, the Buddha does something absolutely brilliant. He turns it into a logical investigation. He looks at Ananda and says, okay, Ananda, you use your mind to understand my teachings. You love them with your heart. So tell me, where are this heart and this mind?
And he doesn't just ask once. He systematically guides Ananda through seven different logical possibilities for where the mind could be hiding. Each one seems kind of plausible at first, but as we're about to see, the Buddha dismantles them one by one. Let's look at the first few.
So Ananda starts with the most common sense answer, right? Well, obviously, my mind is inside my body. But the Buddha's rebuttal is just perfect. He says, think about it. If your mind was literally inside your body, like a person in a house, it should be able to see what's inside the house first. You should see your own heart and lungs before you ever see the trees outside. But you can't. So the mind can't be inside.
Okay, so attempt number one is a bust. Ananda pivots to the total opposite. Fine, then it must be outside the body. But the Buddha points out another flaw. If the mind were outside, it'd be disconnected from the body. Your mind could know something, but your body wouldn't feel it. But that's not how it works, is it? When your eye sees something, your mind instantly knows it. They're clearly connected.
All right, you gotta give him points for creativity on this one. Ananda suggests, okay, maybe the mind is hiding right in my eyes. The Buddha's response is another fantastic analogy. He says, if your mind was like a lens or a piece of glass you were looking through, you'd have to be able to see the glass itself, right? By that logic, you should be able to see your own eyes. And since you can't, well, that location doesn't work either.
So after going through 7 of these logical puzzles, Ananda is completely and utterly lost. Every single place he can possibly imagine putting the mind, it's been shown to be impossible. And this is the whole point. He and all of us listening in are forced to accept that our basic idea of the mind being a thing in a specific place is just fundamentally wrong.
All right, so now that Ananda's old ideas are totally shattered, the Buddha completely flips the script. He stops asking where the mind is, and he starts asking what it is. And he does this by looking for the one thing that never, ever changes.
And to show him this, the Buddha does something incredibly simple. He just holds up his hand and opens and closes his fist. He asked Ananda, "Do you see my hand moving?" Ananda says, "Of course." Then the Buddha asks the million-dollar question. While my hand opens and closes, does your seeing also open and close? And of course it doesn't. The hand changes, but the awareness that perceives the hand is constant. It's just there.
And this is the huge breakthrough for Ananda. He gets it. He realizes that this core awareness, this seeing nature, is so fundamental it's beyond our usual words. It's not moving, but it's not still either. It's just the silent, ever-present screen on which the entire movie of our life is projected.
So now that Ananda has tuned into this unchanging awareness, the Buddha is ready for the big reveal. He's about to show him the true, mind-boggling scale of what he's just discovered. And he does it with one of the most powerful metaphors you'll ever hear.
He introduces this concept of the true mind, and we need to be clear, this is not our little personal mind that's always worrying and thinking. No, this is described as the fundamental, pure consciousness that everything comes from. The mountains, the rivers, our bodies, even our thoughts. It's the source of the whole show.
And this brings us right to the core teaching. The Buddha tells Ananda that we all make this one gigantic mistake. We get completely obsessed with our own little individual self, our body, our thoughts, our ego, which is like a single temporary bubble floating on the water. We stare at that bubble so intently that we completely forget we are actually the entire vast ocean that the bubble came from. You see, according to this teaching, the source of all our suffering is just one big case of mistaken identity. We think we're the bubble, this temporary, fragile thing. But our real nature is the vast, unchanging, eternal ocean of awareness itself. Okay, so this is all very profound, but what's the practical advice? What are we supposed to do with this information? Well, the Buddha wraps up the conversation with one last, unforgettable metaphor to guide us.
He says that all of these teachings, all the words, all the concepts, even this whole incredible dialogue we've been exploring, they're all just like a finger pointing at the moon. The moon is the actual direct experience of that true mind, that ocean of awareness. The mistake we always make is we get obsessed with the finger. We analyze it, we debate it, we study it, instead of simply looking where it's pointing.
And that leaves us with a really deep question to sit with. In our own lives, what's the finger we're staring at? What idea, what belief, what practice have we become so attached to that we've mistaken the signpost for the destination? What are you so busy looking at that you might be missing the moon entirely?